from there.
Dansky delivered. Game 4 is about to start. Let's see where it'll take place. It's Towers of Doom, chosen by Team 12. Now, Team 12 chose Towers of Doom versus Tempo Storm, too, and they looked very good on it. This is a new favored battleground for Team 12. This was not a favorite of theirs. It's not like they were banning it or anything, to my knowledge, last year, but it's definitely a new favorite that they've picked up. I want to go back to the Karazim in K1 Pro. We saw that there was some difficulty trying to line up palms. And, you know, there is a lot of, it's a difficult skill anyway. We know that it's a new support for K1 Pro, but also with Army of the Dead, trying to make sure that that can go down. The other warrior that they had too, ETC, his self-heals. I was wondering if maybe that would be a reason why we would see 7-sided strike too, but...
Yeah, the one in the middle part on the right side, right before that Army, ETC got blown up, but I think the Wave of Force might have knocked him away and allowed just enough disruption. That's something I'd like to watch again down the road. But there was something that pushed Karazim out. There was a Holy Ground, there was the Wave of Force, there was a lot of things going on in there that pushed him out. I think that split second, and Team 12 knew they had to blow that up beforehand. And they were able to get it in before the palm landed. Then he tried to make up for it by getting that palm onto the Arthas. Just didn't work out for him. So maybe we'll see a different support this go around, especially the fact that it's Towers of Doom. But the same thing I said last game, Gilly, about maybe we'll see some early invades from Simplicity, maybe play that aggressive style. I think that forced the draft of Team 12. This is another map that favors that as well.
Yeah, that is a great point. If you're able to have something like a Wave of Force and knock Karazim away just as he would like to get in there with a dash for the palm, just another way that Dansky, if that's the case, if that's how it worked out, able to help ensure that his team won that team fight. We're going in as Team 12, one game away from winning the series versus Simplicity. Simplicity thinking about a gray main ban, likely expecting the Genji ban back, and then they get their Hanzo back.
Yeah, I think the gray main ban opens up one of them. I think they want Genji or they want Hanzo, but does Team 12 ban something else, like an Abathur, to make sure that a potential clone doesn't come out for one or the other, or depending on what they want to set up? So I think Team 12, if they're afraid of the Genji, maybe potentially Abathur afterwards, give them the Genji, give them the Hanzo, take the other one for yourself. I think that it has to heavily be considered here for Team 12. So if the Abathur ban comes out here as opposed to one of the Shimada brothers, wouldn't be surprised.
They're thinking on it. Seems like Team 12 is very okay with dealing with Simplicity's ETC. Not been too much of a problem despite what good statistics Simplicity had on ETC coming into this series.
A team like Team 12 can do that to you. They can hurt your win rate on a lot of heroes. They're pretty good. But they are spending a lot of time. Maybe Tassadar, maybe Abathur. Yeah, I think that's a perfect ban for them. It takes away a component that Simplicity likes to run. It opens up both the Shimada brothers, so now Simplicity makes the choice. Do we want Genji? Do we want Hanzo? Maybe they go just completely away from that. We haven't seen many picks in the way. It's been rare that both made it through, but going Genji Hanzo when it has been available, teams have shied away from that. So if you want to pick something else up like the ETC here early, and then maybe get whatever's left over after that, could be possible, but the threat of giving up a Hanzo Tassadar could, I mean, we haven't seen Team 12 run it, right?
Well, Simplicity took Hanzo in game 2, and then Team 12 didn't. They just took the Tassadar, and Simplicity ended up winning that game. But Team 12 did run Hanzo Tassadar one game versus Tempo Storm, and that was the last game. And they lost that game. That was a close one. They were most close.
Yeah.
Not Battlefield. I don't think Towers was. And Dragon wasn't. Okay, so a lot of them were close. There you go.
So with Team 12, Hanzo available, it seems way too good to pass up. It's just a matter of Hanzo Tassadar. I can't see them going down that route, knowing their mentality, but if there is a shift, this is that combo, I think, that would shift that.
They like Medivh on this map. ETC Hanzo. So this still kind of leaves open. Maybe they force out a Tassadar ban, and then we see Medivh anyway for Team 12. Or they still could run that TAS Hanzo if they want.
For simplicity with ETC not being here, you know that they like to fall back onto a Murden. I'm just not entirely sold that they need to prioritize it this high, but I think that they might be worried that that might be banned out against them going into the second ban. But if they were to try and mix things up, there's counter synergy between Stitches and Genji. Obviously, you're pulling somebody in. Genji normally is diving in. So Murden fits more that style.
Malthael is still up too. So is Dahaka.
I like Dahaka a lot more than Malthael.
Yeah. The Malthael has really good setup for the Dragon Blade, kind of the dream tormented Dragon Blade. Oh, double reset. Gleaming. And they get Dahaka. Yeah, with the double reset, definitely more of the Dahaka strong front line.
I don't want you to have Li Ming anymore, Dansky, and I feel like I can do better. Not the Jaina, though. Definitely not the Jaina.
Stats-wise, that favors Zuna a lot. Yeah, I think that'll be Hosty Genji, and then Zuna Li Ming. Zuna's Li Ming was something like 4 kills, 1 death, and then it was like swapped with Jaina. 4 deaths per game, 1 kill. Something like that. But more Jaina games overall.
Effective, to say the least. So Team 12, they can look at the warrior, they can look at the support. And when we look at one or the other, right now, I think when you look at K1 Pro, a little bit fresher at the role, Karazim doesn't seem as likely with this setup. Malfurion has kind of been the pairing with Genji Tracer compositions that we've seen primarily in Europe. Could be a thing here. Also does really well for the sustained damage of Hanzo. It's not necessarily high burst most of the time. They take Lucio off the board. I think they might get Malfurion for themselves.
I see that Lucio, and I wonder if they're trying to force a Malthael ban here. There's a lot of things to ban from Team 12. That's set up pretty well. Malthael, but Team 12 haven't run Malthael yet. We haven't seen Goku play him, though he does. Or at least he did last year, and played it well. And Tassadar.
If I'm Simplicity, I am all aboard the Malthael ban.
Yeah.
Unless you just feel really confident that you can counter that. The Nubarak has been something. Nubarak's results have been pretty bad. I think he's something like 20 or 40% win rate at this point. It's pretty low.
Ooh, and there's the threat of Medivh.
Hey, there we go.
Nice.
Medivh really cancels Living. Combo.
JK.
Tiger?
Yep. That's totally what I meant. No, just kidding. So the Medivh switch over to TAS for the ban. Now do Team 12 want to run a Medivh Hanzo? Get Malfurion. You've got the portal into the Twilight Dream setup.
Seems with Team 12's hero pool, there's a lot that they could just revolve around the ETC Hanzo.
Yep.
I mean, you could run just another Taika style. You could run the Medivh style. I mean, we've seen the diversity of this team on both fronts. When we opened up with this team and we talked about Dansky and Cure, it's kind of the old Quacknick Schwempy from the old Fnatic, is that they're so comfortable flexing roles that they can do whatever's necessary. One might excel on another hero versus the other, and that could change their draft up and just complement one of those, or complement something like what Wubby would play on that front line. So there's so much they can do.
That's pretty cool steal away from Simplicity. No Tyrael, Sanctification for Genji. No Uther enabling with Divine Shield. They take away all of the invulnerabilities.
You always have to have the Genji factor in terms of, all right, you know, we've got to find some way to heal him. Stukov doesn't do great. He's not terrible. And he has good counter towards the frontline style of Team 12. Alex Straza, we haven't seen really on Towers of Doom. Karazim might just be a fallback option here. Malfurion seems a little bit scary against the potential dive of Uther Tyrael ETC, especially if we end up with another melee like
last game.
Like the Malthael, and then that makes it very terrifying on that backside.
Murden is left for Calf. I agree with you. I don't think it'll be
I want
Stitches.
a Nubarak.
They get a
There we
new.
go.
Malfurion. Alright, so they have the Anub, Impale, Burrow Charge, Roots, Genji slicing through. They got a Drag to follow that up too, so some synergy from that for kills. They're going to have a Global to help with the initial phases, and when the phases are separated, he can safely try to get his altar and then stalk down even faster.
The Nubarak I like a lot. If they were to opt to go Malthael that triple, you have the Cocoon onto that, but you also have the Cocoon for Uther, which threatens a lot of that backline. It can force out a Sanctification more defensively instead of offensively, and that's a winning trade. You do have ETC to worry about all the while on that front line, but Bed of Barbs, especially at level 4, if you want to have more control over that front line, leave that down, get the slows onto a heavy melee composition, or you could go with the extra dive range at level 4 to complement the Genji and the flanking Dahaka. It's just a matter of getting Li Ming and Malfurion to function within that. And Team 12's last pick here, whether it's a damage dealer from range or another support, will heavily determine, I think, a lot of those talent choices.
Yeah, it does seem like right now it would be more defensive Sanctifications. Just wait until Genji starts to wind up for a Dragon Blade, use Sanctification to help get through that. Tychus is the final choice for Team 12. A lot of auto-attacking.
But what
We'll
about
see
the Holy
Hanzo
Cow?
can do. Yep. That's true. But they could get that. They could achieve that even without Sanctification though too with Uther.
But it's cooler with Sanctification. Plus you have Twilight Dream to worry about.
That's true.
More AoE to counter with Sanctification. A lot of that will be answered, obviously, in the game. The Tychus pickup seems to kind of be that fallback safe option for a lot of teams when we get to the back end of the draft, and when you have a lot of that melee on the front line, and Uberak suffers, Dahaka can and will suffer. And then the other thing is, if you do have a flanking Dahaka post level 10, you know he's coming in, you pop your Odin. When you're getting into that suit, you are unstoppable, makes you less of a target when it comes to Dahaka, and depending on if you go Relentless Soldier, you have a lot of defensive options. It keeps you safe from that dive potential.
Seems like Sappers are going to maybe be a problem for Simplicity now that Hanzo's there, but we'll see what they can do to counteract that. Let's get into the game. Game 4, can Simplicity tie us up again and send us to Game 5, or will Team 12 close it out?
This would be a fun one. Very contrasting styles. Again, the Anubarak, will he be a frontline control? Will he be an opportunistic dive hero when Dahaka goes in? Capitalize on the Genji dive position? You don't have a lot of counter engage onto a Li Ming Malfurion unless we see ETC come in with a stage dive, which is high probability. So you have tools on both sides to kind of counter varying playstyles, and I think it'll really just be a matter of opportunity when it shows up.
Yeah, it definitely seems more like a stage dive, though it's not what I wondered as far as the Warriors. Last year, when an ETC and a second Warrior was picked up, sometimes you'd see Goku play that ETC, and he would play it as the split laner, you know, Echo Paddle going into the stage dive. In this case, Justing sticking on the ETC, and we're going to get to see Goku's Tyrael. So a lot of different Tyrael play now between Goku and Kier in this series, and then even Justing in the last series versus Tempo Storm.
Urho's calling for help. Zuna on the Genji.
Which puts Hosty on the Li Ming.
Yeah.
This is a change I didn't expect. Hosty played a lot of Genji for Superstars last year in the second phase.
See what Zuna can do. I do like the fact that they're at least keeping Dahaka around the mid. It makes it so that you can use the global, flex over here, but also have that quick rotation without using the global to make sure on the camps. They held, and now we're going to see Simplicity start the camp of their own. You mentioned post level 4 for Hanzo is going to be terrifying. So Simplicity getting an early control on these camps, I think is going to be a crucial moment. Caffeine already mounting up. He's going to head that way, look for an invade.
Starting to step in, not even one of those sappers down yet. Cap's gonna play it smartly as you see Hosty send over a zoning orb over the side.
I mean, they've got the global. Dahaka's actually here already.
Yeah, bringing down that global is enough to ward away Team 12, allowing Simplicity to steal that camp, but it is going to enable Goku to try to push that wave up and then slow down the rotation up. But it's Genji, he's got a lot of mobility, so he gets up in time to get some of that soak as the sappers run in.
Sappers getting a lot of early game value, so Simplicity sticking to their roots, getting in. Not as much melee this time, makes it a bit easier to invade, plus they have the power of the global. The minute Dahaka showed up, sound came in, Team 12 backed out. So I like the early approach here by Simplicity, but post level 4, Gilly, it's a much different story with Hanzo, and it's much harder to pull that off.
Little spray as the avoidance of the drag. Wondering if maybe the Dahaka going up to the top was going to show us that Simplicity wanted to focus on getting that top Sapper camp too, but so far no. Just being pretty fluid in the rotations with the Genji and the Dahaka. But the first alter phase, and the triple alter phase, is activating in 30 seconds. Let's see how these teams want to set up for that.
Well, the level 4 talent, very telling already. Going to Under King, making sure to get that extra range going in. Making sure to get to that backside, so taking a more offensive approach will be King Caffeine on that Anubarak.
There's 3 in the top for Team 12. Goku's gonna have to go back. Not the best start to this alter phase for Team 12 if they weren't able to get a gank. They had to deal with a very aggressive Genji and Dahaka. Dahaka takes 1. Genji's gonna delay ETC again as the rest of Simplicity attempt to set up a fortress around that middle altar so that Malfurion can start the channel. Looks like he's going to be able to get it. Nobody's stopping. A 2-for-1 trade in favor of Simplicity.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you kind of expect that. The aggression potentially on the side of Simplicity, I think, kind of trumps that of Team 12 a little bit earlier. Cure can delay a bit as Hanzo, but I think a safer approach for them. Once they hit these later talent tiers, you know, you have more control from ETC, the threat of control, the sieging potential to get up into that Odin and things like that just make it a lot easier for Team 12 as this game goes on. So not a surprise there.
Really interesting to see that Team 12 devoted so much to the top lane, but it did ensure that they were still able to get one of those 3 altars. And now they're rotating in time so they don't lose both of the Sapper camps again. And Simplicity are okay with giving that up, despite having the level 7 slightly ahead. They still got their Sapper camp, and they're going to race in, take out the final tower.
Yeah, no eyes on Tyrael there, who was hiding just above that in fog. I think if they had had eyes on Tyrael in the top lane, they might have gone in for the invade, take advantage of that global. But Team 12, after giving up the invade before, found a response for that, and that was to keep Tyrael around this time, just in case.
All right, next altar phase will be up in the top lane with both of the altars as the sappers for Team 12 run in and get some damage done to that lane. King Caffeine starting to go in, hits the Impale on Justing. Cure in danger as he goes down to Zuna. Brother violence.
Zipping Zuna as he zipped on in there to get the kill. The lane control with the Dahaka alone has kind of been the X factor here. When Tyrael and ETC are your melee, your wave clear isn't as substantial as it would be with another hero. So you're going to give up a little bit. Simplicity taking advantage of that. Should see an even trade here. I don't think Anubarak can make it over in time. Zuna
wants to. Oh, does do it.
I think Goku might have laughed a little bit because I think the first Shuriken missed.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it missed too.
Either way, they stall it out enough. Li Ming and Malfurion were doing work in the bottom lane. That was kind of the main thing. Buy enough time. They don't have a ton of sieging potential, but it does give them a slight bit more experience. I mean, they've got themselves a little over half-level lead, Gilly.
Yeah, they've been doing really well in that focus of the bottom lane, in the rotations between mid-top, and trying to get some ganks. The ganks, they've gotten 1, and they've kept Goku back. But just using the mobility of that Dahaka and Genji working out well. But now Team 12, knowing that they had both the Genji and the Dahaka in the top lane and that Goku survived that, went in and stole the sappers of Simplicity just before Simplicity could get heroics online.
Yep, that was a key part of that. And when you can clear them as fast as Hanzo can, you might as well go in. Zuna trying to get level 10 off of that tower, unable to do so. Urho and team, they're going to get 10. There's a camp available on the bottom right, and King Caffeine already there. It should be a free pickup for them. I just wonder how aggressive they might try and be here to take a fort and take this bottom lane control, because Gilly, next altar phase is solo altar in the bottom.
Right, and having that bell tower control, having both of them in the bottom lane, just pretty much means your opponents just flat out can't even contest that. It's really difficult. There's no place to even try to retreat to. You, of course, don't have the well. It's just not a good time if you lose both of them. So aggressive positioning for Simplicity as they go in, trying to do their best to allow those sappers to run in. It was a great power slide from Justin to stop, but with the Cocoon already out, the Dragon Blade too, Simplicity want more than just the Bell Tower. They've got the Cocoon on Bud. Zuna does not take anyone out from Dragon Blade, gets hit with stun. The Bell Tower still picked up by Simplicity.
That was close. That could have been a lot better for Simplicity. Weren't able to capture, but they did get the Bell Tower, and that will be a free channel here for them. So they did get a win in terms of the map, get 5 shots as well for that, stretching the lead just a little bit. They have a bit of control here, Gilly.
23-32 is Simplicity, getting further along in that. We'll see if they can open up now another Bell Tower, start to get the pressure going in one of those lanes. Top might be a good one for them since Simplicity have had so much focus from that, having the Dahaka and Genji up there anyway. But you see Team 12 make the switch now. They have Goku with the rest of the team shielding, trying to give them more of the supporting, while ETC, who has that stage dive post 10, is the one who is trying to contend with the Dahaka.
The sieging potential of this without Tychus is not incredibly high. Kier can clear the minions pretty fast, but in terms of doing structure damage alone, it's not that easy, and we have enough defense here as Hosty getting a bit of damage onto Goku. They can pretty much hold this. Genji is off, and you can see on the minimap getting the camps. Dahaka can always come in that bush there on the right side. So Simplicity is doing a really good job of holding here.
They've held on to that so that they can get those sappers at least threaten enough, maybe to force Team 12 down to defend with more of their heroes. Meanwhile, you see Tychus heading up to the top, seeing if he can get the gank on Arrow as ETC goes in. Arrow on his way back. Altars activating in 30 seconds as Arrow escapes. Genji was starting to go up to help, but not needing that help. He'll just clear out the mid. Getting Simplicity closer to 13, and with these sappers pushing and the double altar phase, Team 12 finds themselves in a difficult position.
Very difficult, because 13 will be here momentarily as well for Simplicity, and the only way they can really aggress into this is through that choke point we see at the top left of the screen. I'd like to see Simplicity still stay here. Only utilize one person. Use this right here. King Caffeine will disrupt the channel. They need to get the bottom, and then they need to look for a fight, but King Caffeine might have stayed just a little bit too long.
Ooh, you felt the air off of that one. The Twilight Dream 2 so much from Team 12 was set up to take out King Caffeine, and they did not get that kill. Now they see the Dragon Blade. They're going to start the channel. They're fairly healthy as Zuna gets on the other side of them. Drag comes in. Sanctification stops him from doing that. Team 12 holds, staying together as one.
Zuna is a madman going in. He is willing to fight in the eyes of danger. Goku with the channel on the backside gets interrupted. Wave of Force as well. This should be a channel.
Arrow hits the drag. He's going to stop it again. Stage dive behind him.
Justin slides in, and there's a blow up onto Urho. Zuna trying to get the trade there, unable to do so. Dansky is following him down. Not able to close that gap on the mobile Genji there. I think it's up to Simplicity to just let this go. There's
what? That darn Scarab. Yeah, it's just staggered deaths at this point.
Yeah, it is. And what you're going to do in the process, you'll give this up. You'll see an instant rotation over to camp, although Zuna has to be careful. They'll get this camp. They'll get the regain the capture of the bell tower, and then look to do more beyond that by pushing out the lane, starting to get potential another camp on the other side. And I think that's a bad spot. Simplicity, that last death there, a little bit unnecessary. You can see this will be cleared out. The camp on the bottom left will be there. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Team 12 makes a play on that.
Yeah, Team Simplicity had everything going in their advantage. They had the bell tower, they had the sappers in, they had the positional advantage, they had 13 for both of those altars. They just extended a little bit past their means, especially once they used a lot of abilities. You know, King Caffeine got caught, they made Team 12 used a lot of abilities thinking they could get that kill, didn't quite get that, so that maybe felt like Simplicity could get even more out of that. But then using Dragon Blade fairly early on, the Cocoon, Simplicity, the same thing happened to them, that they weren't able to do that. And because of this, Simplicity now is fairly closer to Team 12, but they still have control of the amount of core health. Great burrow charge and isolation, stopping ETC from getting onto that point and stealing it.
You know, a lot of times I really heavily favor defending the bottom lane, making sure that you keep control of the map. But this is one of the rare opportunities where Team 12 does have the race. There was absolutely nothing else on the map that Team 12 could do, nor Simplicity except for the boss. And it gives them that control. It takes away an opportunity for Team 12 to come back, and it keeps the control something that was done during the middle of the altar phase. And if things get really out of hand here, you get another bell tower. Simplicity, outside shot, low probability they might end, but they have a chance if they can get 2 of these to get a very firm grasp on this game, Gilly.
Yeah, Team 12 doing what they can to push the minions and push Zuna all the way back to this bell tower. This gives time for Uther on the back end of this to try to channel. And with so many of Team 12, or Simplicity in the top lane, they're just going to go after trying to get both of the altars in the top. They've changed things up. They've gone past the norm. Stage Dive is going to drop down on K1 Pro. He has Ice Block if needed, goes in for the Twilight Dream, walks on out.
I was wondering if he might have cocooned him right before he went into Stage Dive to confirm the capture. Cocoon had just come off of cooldown. Instead, that's going to be 2 over to Team 12.
Simplicity plays it safe. Team 12 were getting fairly close to 16. Simplicity had won the boss. That was pretty risky. They had lost those couple of staggered deaths. That was pretty risky too, so they're pulling them back. They're trying to make sure that they maintain their composure right now and aren't trying to play like they are still massively ahead, because Team 12, yeah, they're down with the core health, but they're finding ways back into this game.
If you want to see what a comeback looks like, you're about to watch it right now, because we've got 2 waves of sappers that are going to be coming to the bottom that will claim a bottom bell tower. And then Simplicity without 16 will just have to relent, fall back, defend, make sure the sappers don't get across, because there's no way they defend against all 6 here. So this is a good opportunity for Team 12 to gain control. Single altar phase is next here in the middle. Again, having control of this bottom lane does give you a major advantage in controlling this battleground.
One more sapper pushing in to make sure that it doesn't go across the kill zone lines. Dahaka was pushing the top lane, but now having ETC there, he's not going to be able to get that bell tower for free. The sapper is taken care of as Simplicity nearly reached 16. There it is.
16's here. No camps have been picked up. And now Team 12 is doing, well, they're looking for it. They're looking for it. That's extra knockback range, not too bad.
That was good.
But they're doing to Simplicity what Simplicity was doing to them, and that's holding that bottom lane, making sure that they can't come in and reclaim that. I really wonder if Simplicity will even be willing to contest this. They have a couple of entry points, but it looks like Team 12 is looking for a fight as well.
ISO, no Stage Dive out of here, ETC. The Dragon's Arrow hits, but it's too late to save the life of ETC. Thought Simplicity maybe would just try to push up, push out that bell tower, but no, they are not giving up this altar without a fight.
Urho? Yeah, Urho's coming in on the backside, but
wow.
a lot of damage there. Urho misses the tongue as well, but Zuna going in, trying to find something. Finds nothing yet, but you're low right now, Gilly.
Goku has not used the Sanctification. He got knocked out of it.
Oh my.
Still has Holy Ground. The orb goes across. The shield barely keeps Goku alive. So close to death as Simplicity pushes Team 12 all the way back to their bell tower and gets the 3 shots off of that altar. 6 health left for Team 12.
Lucky. I mean, that was so close to being 2 more members of Team 12 dead. That is insane. Goku's Sanctification forced to be used. Stage Dive out already, Gilly.
Twilight Dream as he Stage Dive and power slides through. Hosty being chased by this ETC. He separated a lot from the rest of his team. He's gonna run back. It gives up control of the sappers to Team 12. Team 12 did use a lot of abilities to get those though, thinking that they could get some kills, thinking that they could get the fight back in. So it's on them to make sure they get something done with this.
Yeah, the experience in favor of Team 12. These sappers might just make it through. I don't know if Simplicity wants to risk this too much. They do have Li Ming. They have some roots they can put down, but that sword is where the Holy Ground will come in. They've got to be extremely careful of that.
One. Swift Strike does a lot. Healing up. Bud's healing the sappers for the escort. Another orb. They've just about done it. There's one down. Just one remains. He sliced through just in time.
Just in time. Li Ming can try and poke down. Urho's not going to do that. It's double altar phase. Simplicity wins a team fight. They might win the game. Team 12 takes a team fight, continues to take control of this game as they have for the last 3 to 4 minutes. Things starting to narrow down as the health of the cores getting dangerously low for both teams.
Simplicity has both warriors up toward the top, and that's not where these altars are.
He really wanted that. And they've got two. The top and bottom on the side of Team 12 are low. Nice use of Holy Ground, but they find themselves in another way.
Now they're going to try to take control, push back Team 12. Team 12 is not channeled on the bottom. Dahaka went down to the bottom too, but similarly, Stage Dive from Jesting finds himself in not the greatest of positioning, but with a Dragon's Arrow and the Sanctification, he gets out alive, starts to try to heal back up. The sieging from Odin does a number to Hosty in the back.
Neither altar has been channeled yet. Urho flanking around on the side, but they found him. They've got the slide over, the burrow under. Let's see if they can lock him in. He does have the heal up. Zuna on the backside as well, trying to get the damage in, but nothing has broken just yet. The side of Team 12, low on mana is Goku. Right now, it's a poke war in this between Hanzo and Li Ming. I don't know. There's shots everywhere.
Tyrael shown, he's down in the bottom, starting to work on that. Zuna shows up, unwilling to even give one, trying to use that positional advantage. He does a bunch of damage to Goku. And Goku will go back, try to heal up.
He had the tap. Dahaka is low. Genji hiding in the bush. Nobody knows where Genji is at just yet. Zuna will come out. The Holy Ground goes out. He's got the lockdown. It's a 1v1 for the moment. The standoff continues. Hosty and Dainsky changing exchanges there. The poke is substantial here. This is going to be incredibly difficult. We've got Dahaka on the bottom.
Dahaka and Zuna, now Hosty's there too. Goku locking down Zuna with the Holy Ground. He uses the deflect, and he does dodge the grenade, but not the Tyrael bomb as Genji goes down. It's a Genji for Tyrael trade.
They've got it for now. Urho missing on the tongue. He's low as well. Cure coming in, trying to get the takedown. Urho getting low. He finally falls. It's a 2-for-1 trade. Anubarak, however, gets interrupted at the last second.
3 versus the 4 of Team 12. As Hosty goes in, hits a combo on Dainsky that stops the channel. 1 channel down. That's the bottom. This gets so much easier for Team 12 now. Ooh, especially with the scatter arrow damage of Cure just wrecking Hosty. Simplicity have to give up both of the altars.
I'm wondering if they're willing to make a play on the boss. Make the sappers be defended in the bottom lane or the boss in the top lane. You have to choose one. This gets them really close. The problem with this is that it gives up the control of that bottom lane, which is always a key component.
Yeah, look at their forts behind that. Not only bottom, but top. Simplicity have been working so hard on that top lane. That is a huge change in control. If Simplicity can just take this back and push on forward. But Team 12 took out that boss really quickly. The Hanzo helped with that, and they're back in time to defend this.
They are. The Scarabs were eating some of that. This is desperately needed for Simplicity. Level 20 almost here for both teams. It's picked up first by Simplicity. More sappers have picked up. Remember, top and bottom bell tower on the side of Team 12. If they lose a team fight, Simplicity might be able to capture both of those in one of the altars or both, depending on how this goes. Also, the level 20 upgrade. I'd love to see Uther hold on to this, potentially go into the Divine Shield upgrade. Wait on it. Make it a situational thing. Do you need that redemption to stay alive in a team fight, or do you need that to try and secure the game? We're going to find out now, Gilly.
Arrow. He's in danger. Team 12's coming in. The Holy Ground on one side to lock him down. Arrow likely not getting out of this at all. Does not have the tunneling claws, so there's no way to claw through that. No Dahaka now for 60 seconds as Simplicity does take control of the bottom lane, but can they do this? Can they take one of these altars? Because otherwise, Team 12 is going to win this game in the series.
Yeah, that Dahaka pick is such a crucial part of this. Goku has the Holy Ground. Hosty on the bottom side.
There it is. There it is. He's going for the channel. And that's it. Team 12 walk away with a win in this series over Simplicity.
Yeah, there it is. There's that Divine Shield upgrade. You know, we've seen it, you know, not be as successful in certain times before. Teams go away from it, but that's all that they needed.
I mean, they also had Sanctification.
I wondered if he would Sanctification,
yeah,
channel, then get Divine Shield and just kind of double up on it. That way there was absolutely zero chance for failure, but that's pretty long. He already had a split second. Pretty good.
Yeah, you should be content with that much invulnerability. Okay, Goku, you don't need all of that invulnerability. No, it was well done. They used that. They had the Sanctification. They had the Tyrael and Uther. That worked for them in so many ways within the draft too, being able to take that away from Genji, being able to use that versus the Genji. Worked out well for Team 12, only losing the one game to Simplicity, but Simplicity bringing the fight to Team 12, and that's what we like to see from this team, continued evolution and understanding of their strengths, and man, that Tomb game was just awesome from them.
Tomb game was pretty amazing, the amount of control that they had in that game, and they had control for most of this game, and Team 12 took, I guess, that fight around the altar seemed like a little bit of an overstay, just a little bit on Simplicity, and then that just allowed a little bit of a stagger death for Team 12 to grab control and not let go, and that's the thing with Team 12. If you give them that opportunity, they're not going to let go, and so big shout outs to Team 12 to make sure to grab that and then just do what they do. I don't know, Simplicity, they found ways to get back in the game. It just, yeah, it feels like they just let it out of their hands. But that's Towers of Doom. I mean, all you got to do is get back that bottom lane, right?
Seems like it. Or you just get the boss, get the altars, channel for forever with the invulnerability, and win the game. Let's check in with Goku from Team 12. Hey, Goku, congratulations. How are you guys feeling after that win, and especially after losing that tough loss versus Tempo?
We're feeling all right, I would say. I think we have a lot of work cut out for us. It was definitely a pretty intense series, even like nonetheless.
Well, tell us about you guys' mindset in the series versus Tempo and right afterward, because you guys had some very dominant games, like the Battlefield of Eternity game was just impeccable, but then some really long and tough, drawn-out games versus Tempo too. How are you guys feeling after that?
It was just a lot of mistakes happened in the Tempo series, and we're trying to address that still. It was very, I guess, we felt very defeated, and we knew we weren't playing up to our best potential that we could. We're definitely working on that right now, and there's obviously still some things we need to fix, even against Simplicity.
Do you have any specific things that you guys are going to look to work on first, or are you good with sharing that with us?
I think probably the main thing is to just focus on our synergy still. We're still a little bit, we slump up a bit every now and then, and we need to make sure that's consistent enough.
All right, well, thank you for sharing with that. I'll send you over to Jayhow.
Goku, the core of your team between you, Buds, and Justin, there's a lot of those roles that are hard to fill, and you guys tend to be at the top here of North America in each of those. But you brought in 2 new members, and I was talking to Justin a little bit about this, but you talk about working on the synergies. Has that been easier or tougher? Because you guys have changed the dynamic pretty vast. Has that been easier, tougher, or fun? I guess bringing in Kieran Dansky?
It's been fun, honestly. It's just it's making sure we're consistent and we'll always keep doing the same thing. It's the fact of being inconsistent that's going to affect our majority of our plays. I think if we if we play it right, then we're gonna definitely step up.
All right, you guys had a tough test from Simplicity, and the story from everybody prior to their games is if Simplicity can play the way that we know that they can play. Did they live up to that against you guys today?
I think they can still grow, in my opinion. I think there's some things they need to fix. And if they can fix those things, I don't want to let out anything too much. They can certainly contest top 3.
Well, you guys have made a strong showing, dangerously close to that top spot, but congratulations on the victory today. I look forward to your continued success, man.
Thank you.
Goku, your next match is versus Gale Force Esports next weekend. Any thoughts on that one?
I'm sure, just considering Gale Force is kind of a wild card, considering they lost to LFM, so it'll be harsh, but, they might head back to the Crucible, just saying.
Wow. All right. Well, thank you, Goku. Congratulations on your win. Good luck in that series. And you can give your shout-outs now.
Huge shout-out to our fans, of course to my team, and our analyst, Milk and Cookies. He's been a huge, major help towards our team, and we're slowly improving compared to when we played in China.
Awesome. Thank you, Goku.
Thank you.
Well, Team 12, yes, they lost to Tempo Storm, but they end the weekend on a high note, just dropping 1 game versus Simplicity. But we've got another series, and Jayhow, it's a pretty good one. It's pretty exciting.
I mean, I guess if you're battling for first place, I'd say it's pretty exciting. 2 undefeated teams here, obviously only 2 games into our season, but nonetheless, this will definitely have bragging rights and set you up for a very good shot at the Clash, going 3-0 to start this. So 2 of our top teams facing up next.
Yep, after the break, we've got Tempo Storm taking on Team Freedom. Don't go anywhere because it's going to be an amazing match. See you soon.
Hyper aggressive, you know, it's something that we rarely, I don't know if we've ever seen, especially as an offensive style Uther.
There's the
But
10.
10 is picked up. Current team trying to back
Arrow.
out of here. Tormented Souls are out, Gilly.
Beautiful Tormented Souls, Divine Storm, Oblivion, just obliterating them. Now the Roots catch Cure after the hook, and whereas Simplicity were patient, so very patient.
Just rolling these kills in, Gilly. Might be more.
And there was no sanctification to be had there. It had been used earlier, wasn't able to save Justin from that too. They're gonna hold down Justin down on this point. Can he get out alive? No, he cannot, but the Twilight Dream is just perfect, and now Dansky trying to wreck through all the rest of Simplicity. They'll pop the palm, but Dansky still going after K1 Pro, trading back and forth. K1 Pro using his punches. Now Dansky separated from the rest, goes in, takes out K1 Pro. Dansky is a legend on the Sleeming. In Holy Ground, you are gonna get locked in, my friend, but for now, it's A-okay. Justin, again, separated from the rest of the team. There's some Roots there. The Twilight Dream goes down. ETC might be the target. Sanctification, too, enabling the rest of Team 12 as they take down ETC. Here goes Dansky again. He takes out 2 and is looking for that Odin kill with the Holy Ground now online.
K1 Pro peppering in on that backside, puts the palm onto Hosty, does not proc. He's going to go down. K1 Pro doing anything to get some damage out, but he is just going to delay the inevitable.
It falls. Odin
Gate
Fuse.
falls, yeah. Odin is out. This is their best defensive tool. They're going to try and hold. Goku and team trying to come forward as well, seeing if they can get a kill. The keep is inevitable, but can they get more? The stun there on the front side, the Holy Ground into the Twilight Dream. That is 3 members just deleted from the game. Simplicity stepped way too far forward there, Gilly.
Well, that's the problem. They have so many melees. Everyone has so many melees trying to defend versus the Immortal. And suddenly, where a keep was a guarantee, now the core is a guarantee. Team 12.
It is such a crucial part of this. Goku has the Holy Ground. Hosty on the bottom side.
There it is. There it is. He's going for the channel. And that's it. Team 12 walk away with a win in this series over Simplicity.